Hey, welcome back to How to Barbecue Right. Today I got a nice pork butt here for you, and I'm going to show you my way of doing kind of a Mexican smoked pulled pork for Pork Carnitas tacos. It's my version of it. You see what I started with is a whole pork butt, and it may look a little different because instead of trimming it any kind of way, I just took my knife and just scored it up and down and back across. I wanted to create all these little crevices and places to get crispy for flavor, for that bark to build up. We're gonna cook this thing, get some smoke on it, and then we're gonna braise it, which is kind of the typical way that in Mexico you would find a pork roast being cooked. It'd be cooked nice and slow in a liquid where it can really break down and get tender. But I wanna add that smoked element and get some of that crunchy bark to mix in with these tacos that we're gonna make. Now this is a pretty fairly long process because you see the oranges and limes and all this other stuff I have out here on the board. We're going to make a marinade basically for this pork butt, and I like it to stay in there at least 12 hours overnight. If you can go 24, that's even better. So that's the first thing we're going to do today, and then we'll take it out of the refrigerator tomorrow, and I'll show you how we're going to cook this pork butt for pulled pork carnitas, and then we're going to assemble some tacos, and of course we're going to eat some. That's the best part, right? So let's get started what we're going to do. First, we're going to just keep the seasoning simple because we're putting it in this marinade. I'm just using some of my AP seasoning. It's salt, pepper, and garlic. These are just basic flavors that are going to really bring some flavor to this pork butt. So you just want a good dose because we're putting it in that liquid. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're getting it down in the cracks and everything on there. I want to turn it over and get the opposite side as well. I'm going to cook this fat up. That's the side I scored. So it'll stay that way on the cooker the whole time when we get ready to put it on. And I want to get seasoning all over the pork butt. So we've got some salt, pepper, and garlic on it. Next, I've got 4 or 5 Chipotle Peppers and Adobo Sauce. So they just come in the little can at your supermarket. I took them, chopped them up real good, and I'm going to just kind of slather this all over the top of the butt, get it in all these little crevices. You're going to get in there and get a little dirty with this, but hey, that's okay. We want that flavor from these Chipotle Peppers, that Adobo Sauce, just to resonate through this pork. So while I got a hand dirty, I'm going to go ahead and get my bag up and drop this pork butt down in the bag. Now if you use these big 2.5 gallon bags, plenty of room to pour in your marinade. All right, so our pork butt, got a little seasoning on it, just basic salt, pepper, and garlic. We rub the Chipotle peppers all over the top of it. Now we're ready to add our wet ingredients. And I'm just using orange juice. This is going to be the base for our marinade. The citrus really goes great with pork. Just about a quart of orange juice. And you want to put this bag in something that's going to kind of hold it up. You don't want to make a mess. And then I'm just adding some oranges, fortify that flavor a little. We're going to drop them, squeeze them, drop them in the bag. We've got limes, fresh limes. And at this point, you can really put whatever you would like in there. I just like keeping it kind of simple. Lime juice, orange juice, some onions. Now if you want to throw a bay leaf in, some whole garlic, go right ahead. So once you get everything in your bag, just close it up, try to get all the air out you can. We want the pork butt to remain covered the whole time. That citrus fruit's gonna start breaking that pork down some. We're gonna get some real good flavor in it. We're not gonna have to inject this pork butt tomorrow when we get ready to cook it. It's gonna be fully saturated, have a ton of flavor. So we're gonna let it rest in the refrigerator overnight. Get it out tomorrow, get it out of the marinade, and we're going to show you how we're going to season it and cook it. Make some awesome tacos. Y'all stick around. All right, the pork butt's been in this marinade overnight, so we're going to get it out of this marinade, let it drip dry a little bit. Then we're going to show you how we're seasoning it, get it ready for the grill. Okay, we took the butt to the sink and kind of got it out of the marinade. Wherever you're taking it out, it's a lot of liquid, so you want to be somewhere where it doesn't make such a big mess. So we're going to start with the seasoning. You can see I still got some of that Chipotle pepper that we rubbed it with down in the little crevices that we created. That's going to be good. Leave that there. It'll be a little spicy, but it's going to make some really good flavor. So we're going to start with our just salt, pepper, garlic blend again. We're just going to give it a good dose over the top. You also want to get some on the bottom. You don't really need a base of anything. It's got some moisture on it already. Now I've got a few spices that I'm going to use today that are kind of have that Mexican Southwest flavor. That's what I want to use on this butt. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to put just a touch of the barbecue rub on top for some color because it does have some of those same flavors, but I really want to make some of these more flavors intense. So I'm starting with some cumin, and this is just ground cumin. Then I've got some Chipotle pepper. Then a little ancho chili powder. Really gonna give it a good flavor there. And then last but not least, we like to use some cinnamon when we're doing Mexican food. Fresh cinnamon really gives it some good flavors. Now I'm gonna put just some barbecue rub on this side. We'll flip it over and repeat that process for the top. And this is just for some color, a little extra flavor. So now we're ready to repeat the same seasoning process on this side. And you can really tell, I want you to see how this butt soaked up that marinade, really changed the color of it, of the meat itself. And it's gonna have some great flavors. So let's repeat that seasoning process for this side. We'll start back with our chipotle. Let's get some of that cumin on it. Then a little of the ancho chili powder. And then last but not least, a little cinnamon. Cinnamon goes a long way, so you don't have to get heavy with it. Then we'll put on, just to brighten it up, barbecue rub. We're gonna have some good flavors going on this pork butt. It's gonna make a really good bark on it. Okay, now the pork butt is seasoned and pretty much ready for the grill. Now we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna be cooking on my big green egg today. We're gonna cook this pork butt in that 275, 300 range. A little bit hotter than your typical pork butt, but it's gonna really render that fat, make it some nice bark, because what we're gonna do is smoke it for just about 4 hours until we get some good color on it, get that bark forming, and then I'm gonna put it in a pan with some more of that fruit juice and some tomato juice, and we're gonna put some vegetables in there, some onions and some garlic, some dried peppers. So we're really gonna create this Mexican style flavor in a braising liquid, and that's what's gonna break this pork butt down, and it's gonna make some awesome pork carnitas. Let's go outside and get the grill fired up. We'll get this thing on, get it to cooking. All right, we're out at the grill. Today, as I said earlier, we're cooking on the big green egg. Now, if you're whatever kind of grill you're using, you wanna set it up for indirect heat. On the big green egg, I've got some lump charcoal in there. I got a little bit of hickory wood chips to give it some nice smoke, but I've got my plate setter in, and I've got a drip tray set up just to keep the drippings from getting all over the plate setter. And we're just gonna get this pork butt centered up right on the rack here over the drip pan. And we don't really have to do anything else to it. I'm not concerned about the internal temperature at this point in the cook. I just wanna get my color right. So I know 275 degrees, it's gonna be about 3 or 4 hours. I'm gonna need to look at it, see if the bark's got that good color that I want. I wanna catch it before it gets too dark. Get it braising. We're gonna break it down at that point. So like anything, get your lid closed. It's not doing anything if you got the lid up. We're gonna be cooking. We're gonna need about 4 hours. We'll check back on it, make sure everything's right. If you're running a cooker, like the big green egg or any other cooker, just get you a good bed of coals, put you a little wood in there for your smoke, get it stabilized and holding about that 275 range. If it creeps up just a little bit, that's okay. Just don't want it to go much over 300. We're looking at about a 7-8 hour cook for an 8-pound butt. So that's what we're shooting for today. Show you how we're gonna do it, just stick around. Okay, it's been about 4 hours on this pork butt on the big green egg. Now it's gonna be, I'm hoping the color's gonna be right, and it's gonna be time to take it off so we can get it in that braising liquid. So let's take a look at it. Oh yeah, see, that's what I want to see. It's got crunchy, it's kind of split open where I scored it. We've gotten all these crunchy bits, we got bark on it, but I don't want it to get a whole lot darker than this. So this is where, at the point of 4 hours, it's perfect. We'll take it off, take it inside, and show you how we're gonna braise it. Now, don't get caught up on the internal temperature at this point. I don't care, I'm going straight by looks, and that's really what you need to worry about. Is the bark the right color, the right time to get it off? That's when you want to get it covered up. So I got a pan here, we're gonna get it off. The lid closed back. We'll go inside and show you how we're gonna braise this pork butt, really break it down, get it real nice and tender now. Okay, we're back inside. Now we're gonna get ready to show you how we braise this pork butt. And what braise is we're gonna add a liquid to the pan, leave the butt in this pan and cover it with full. It's gonna trap all that heat, all that moisture inside, and in that wet environment, it's really gonna break down the pork butt and make it really tender. So what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna add a few things. I've got some onion, I'm gonna squeeze some lime in it, and I've got a couple guajillo peppers I'm gonna put in there, and a couple bay leaves and some fresh garlic. It's pretty simple, but I wanna get these aromatics in there, get some of that flavor going as this liquid gets up and really gets to boiling. So there's no right way to put these in, just get them in the pan. Now for the liquid, I'm gonna use orange juice and tomato juice. I'll squeeze that lime in here last. But you just really want the, you don't want to cover the butt. You want enough liquid to come up in the pan to where it's just, the butt's sitting in some liquid. It's still gonna cook out some moisture, some of that fat's gonna render. But this liquid's gonna add really good flavors. That's about a quart of tomato juice, half a quart of orange juice. Now, just last, I'm gonna squeeze the lime in it. Just one lime. Also, this is the point where I wanna watch the internal temperature on the butt. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my ThermalWorks dot probe stuck in to where it's gonna stay in the whole time. Just going in the center part, front of the blade bone, because I want to be able to make sure I'm in a thick part of the roast. That way I'm getting a true reading. I know when it gets close to 200 degrees, this butt's going to be falling apart. That's what I'm looking for. Now we're just going to cover full. So let's get it back outside and continue cooking. We're going to braise this pork butt now, make it nice and tender. All right, we're still holding the big green egg, 300 degrees. Gonna set the pan and all on the grate. Get it closed down. Make sure you get your probe wire to where you can hook up your thermometer. Now this is what I was talking about, that ThermalWorks dot. If you aren't cooking with one of these, man, you gotta get one. They're real cheap. I think they're about 20, 25 bucks, but they're accurate as the Thermopin. It only does one thing. It tells you internal temperature. You can also use it to check the grate temperature inside. It has a little clip you can stick a probe in. We're gonna keep the lid down, let the big green egg stabilize, and just keep cooking. All right, it's been about 3 more hours, so we're looking at a 7-hour cook time. Right, and I've held the smoker right about 275 to 300 degrees that whole time, and my dot alarm is going off that I reached 198 degrees, so I know that this pork butt's gonna be done. I didn't look at it any. We kept it closed and let the egg do its job, which is cook. You know, we just have to control the vents a little bit. There's not much tuning. So if you're cooking on a grill, just make sure you keep that fire steady, holding in that 275 to 300 range, and that pork butt's gonna get done. So let's get this thing off and take it inside and get the full off, see what it looks like. Okay, we're back inside, and I just want to take a quick peek and see how this pork butt looks. See if I can pull that bone out. I still want it to rest a little bit in that juice, and I've got a little prep work to do before we're ready to assemble these tacos. So let's take the full off and just see what we're working with. Nice color, man, it smells good. You know I'm gonna have to get a little, find a piece to get a little bite here. Ooh, that's tender. Ooh, smell that cinnamon, smells good. I know it's gonna be hot. Don't try this at home. Wow, that's got a ton of flavor. We're gonna let this sit and rest a little bit. Blade bone comes right out. That's what you want to see. Put it to the side. Put the lid back on and let it rest. I've got to make a sauce that we're going to serve with these tacos, and I'm going to cut up some of the garnish that we're going to use to dress them up. So stick around, I'll show you how we're going to pull this pork butt for some Mexican pulled pork, pork carnitas. I went ahead and took the pork butt out of the braising liquid, just set it on the platter, and don't throw the braising liquid away, because if you're going to reheat this, if you're not eating it right away, you can strain that braising liquid, and when you reheat this pulled pork, you can add a little bit of that braising liquid. It'll really add some flavor and add some more moisture to it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one apart right now, and we can eat it right away. So I really wouldn't dress it with any more of the braising liquid, because I don't want it real watery. That's really not what you're going for. You want it to have some really good moisture from that fat breaking down in the meat, but you don't want it drenched in liquid. So let's just break into this pork butt, start pulling some of it apart. And see, we've got a bunch of crispy edges where we cut those score marks. And that's kind of how I want to leave it. This doesn't need to be pulled real fine. You want it kind of stringy, a little chunky, but you want pieces of that bark, that good crust, that flavor we developed in every bite. So when you're pulling it apart, you know, just put on some glove liners, get some gloves on, and get in there with your hands, you know. There's nothing to pulling pork. And if it's cooked right, it should come apart just like this. All right, so we've got that whole butt pulled, shredded. Now it's ready to eat, man. This is when you put out a platter of Mexican style pulled pork and just let everybody build their own tacos. So we've got our pulled pork all shredded, ready to make our pork carnitas. Here's the way I like to do it. We're gonna start with a couple corn tortillas. Now I know corn's the traditional for tacos. Some people like the flour shells, that's okay. But I always go with two. I want to double it up. This is kind of going to be a hearty taco. If you've ever got street tacos, a lot of times that's the way that they come as well. So you're just going to get some of your pulled pork. Then I like to dress it with a little avocado, a little bit of cilantro, a few radish, and then I made a dressing up for it. And it's really a simple dressing that it goes great on pork tacos. It's great on fish. You know, it's a Chipotle dressing. It kind of goes with anything. Has that southwestern flavor. I used the same Chipotle peppers that we used in the marinade, and I just took 3 or 4 of them, chopped them up, a little bit of the adobo sauce, and mixed it with some sour cream and mayo, squeezed a half a lime in there and seasoned it up. And it really makes a great dressing. So we're just gonna dress the taco with it a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot, you know, put as little or as much as you want. That's about right there. Last but not least, just give it a fresh squeeze of lime over the top. So we'll do another one. Get your corn tortillas. Some of that really good, soft, tender, juicy Mexican style pulled pork. Let's put some avocado on there, a little bit of radish, some cilantro, a little bit of our Chipotle sour cream sauce, another squeeze of lime, and we've got some pork carnitas. So we put me together a taco here so I could, you know, I wouldn't want to make something that you guys don't see me eat. And on mine, I'm gonna kick it up with a little bit of hot sauce. Use your favorite kind. Let's see what we're working with. That's Flavor Town right there. Let's go back in. Good stuff. Hey, the next time you're wanting to do some Mexican food at home, don't forget about the pork butts, man. They make excellent tacos. There's a lot of things you can do with them. You can make burritos, enchiladas, whatever you like. Pulled pork, Mexican style, really has a ton of flavor, and you can do it outside on your smoker. As you can see, it feeds a lot of people. Dress some tacos this style the next time you want something spiced up a little bit. I promise you'll love it. The freshness is amazing. If you like what we're doing here on How to Barbecue Right, subscribe to our channel. We're going to be putting videos out all summer long. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter. We love all the comments and the interactions. We'll see you next time.